so far, and hopefully we'll be in person next year. And I just want to introduce Rob Lineberger as the Animal Control Supervisor of the Richmond Animal Care and Control. He has nearly 3 decades of experience in the field. To learn more about Rob's background, please check out his bio under the speaker tab. Today, he's going to be talking about professionalism of animal control officers. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started because I think I only have 45 minutes, and this particular topic, I can go on and on for a couple of hours worth. And if there's any questions, by all means, reach out and ask. I think there's the chat version. There's the live voice version. Like they said, hopefully next year, everything can be in person because there's a lot to be said about in-person conferences, that camaraderie and that literally the professionalism that we're going to talk about today. So again, thanks for everybody that's joining, and let's just jump right into this. So professionalism in animal care and control, like was mentioned by Dave, I've been doing this for nearly 3 decades. And when I first started, there was just the notion and that, I'm just a dog catcher. Well, that isn't the case. At least I don't think that's the case. I know I hear stories, horror stories of folks being handed the keys and the catch pole to the vehicle and just jumping right in and going. Well, that may work in some cases, but that's going to be, the days of past. Going forward, we really have to look at this whole world of animal care and control, and that it is truly a profession. It is a needed business. It is a needed job, and without us, I think there'd be a lot of chaos. That's just how I like to look at it. So, in my 3 decades, I've learned a lot over the years, and some things that are really important for this job. And it is truly a job. I mean, it's physical, it's mental, it's a mixture of both, and it takes its toll on all of us. But it's also very rewarding. There's things that we can do in this animal care and control world that make this job that much better. Gets people to notice that we really are actual professionals. We don't just go out there and catch dogs. My gosh, if we just caught dogs, boy, wouldn't this be easy. We could eliminate everything else. No more alpacas, no more chinchillas, no other kinds of livestock, no poultry, no wildlife. We could just deal with dogs. But that's not the case, as we all know. So what's in the word? So what I did is I actually just took the word professionalism. I mean, it's a long word. I looked at each individual letter. And I did upload a current version of this PowerPoint. Well, it's in a PDF format into the app, into the conference. So everybody should be able to download it and actually look at it. There's nothing in the notes section, so you don't have to worry about missing anything. But I took each individual letter and I tried to come up with some things that I've used over the years that have made sense to me. And what might make sense to me may not always make sense to others, but I'll try to explain it because your version of professionalism might be a tiny bit different. But I think we can all agree that there are some key points that make us professional, both individually as well as team and group and departments. So I do work for Richmond Animal Care and Control. That's our patch. And when I first started, I don't have the old patch, but it was a plain black and yellow, I think it was, and just had the name Richmond Animal Care and Control. Pretty boring, and didn't really give a true sense of who we were. And so we as a team sat down back in January and February of 2016, and we said, we're visible. People see us. They look at our uniform, they look at our patches, and they see who we are. And if we have something plain and boring that doesn't, share a level of professionalism and integrity, and honestly just something good looking, then who are we? So we just sat down for a few weeks and created something. So we've got the Richmond skyline, we've got the James River, dogwoods are the the state flower and tree. We've got the city of Richmond seal. Of course, we got the dog and cat in there, and the James River Bridge, and added some color to it because people see this. That's one of the first things that they see. We're visual species, and so when we look at a person walking up to us, we've already started the judgment process. We see, how they're dressed, how they look, and when we have something that stands out, as simple as a patch, that tells a lot. That at least it starts the process that their patch looks pretty darn good. Maybe we should take them a little bit more serious than just patches that we've seen before that are plain and boring. So the first letter is P, and I threw on their personality, who you are, your actual character, your inner core, so to speak, the way you actually think, and the way you feel. And that's important because certainly we all have feelings, and those of you that don't, then you're probably a robot. But maybe you're real good at hiding the way that you feel and the way that you think. But those things are important, and it guides us in how we behave. So, if we're thinking positive, if we're feeling upbeat, that's going to help guide us when we're doing our job. And that's noticed by people. If you're having a bad day and you're thinking poorly of the community, that, oh gosh, everybody calls in and complains, that's all I hear is complaints, complaints, complaints. That could affect the way you feel, thus affecting the way you behave. And yes, it is difficult. I will hand that to you. There are days where I just want to, close my eyes and go hide in the closet because I've got to deal with the chaos, so to speak, of the day. But then you have to think about it and know that you can change your behavior. You can change the way you think. That's the beauty of inner peace and your own ability to change how you actually think. You are in control. We might talk about that a little bit more in one of the other slides, but you get to control how you behave, how you think, and how you feel. And that's pretty important. Respect. Second letter, R, respect. That's definitely important. Understanding that someone is important. And we get people that call in. I'm sure you all have dealt with this before, where someone calls in and they need you there now. Their situation is the most important situation in the world. Nothing else matters. And honestly, that's how we need to treat them. That may not be the case. You may have dozens of other calls pending for service that are just as important, if not more important, than that particular situation. But when you deal with that individual, treat them as if they are number one. And that goes a long way with the ability to respect. And also understanding that you are important. You're doing a pretty important job each and every day. Some days are a little bit more chaotic and some days are a little bit more rewarding. But either way, regardless, you're doing an important job and you yourself are important. So having that ability to respect your own self, knowing that, hey, I'm doing a really good job. I'm making a difference each and every day. Treating both yourself and others in an appropriate way. We don't necessarily have to respect an individual. I have conversations with folks and I ask them, do you have to actually respect somebody? No, you don't generally have to respect an individual, but you should treat them with respect. Respect is earned, I believe. And it takes a while in some cases, but in others, it may be pretty quick. But we should treat everybody with respect. Now, whether you want to respect an actual individual, that may take time, or it may be something that's right away. But in general, we should treat everybody with respect, to include our own selves. And honestly, we should treat animals with respect too. They are important customers, so to speak, in our world of animal care and control. Even if they're trying to bite us, or they express their anal glands, or they're scratching us because they don't want to go into that carrier, or they don't want to go into that vehicle, or they don't want to go into the cage. Still have to respect the animals as well. Oh, that's the third letter in the professionalism word, On duty. It seems like we're on duty a lot. And some of you may have a blend of on duty and off duty, and you don't know where the line is in some cases. I'm sure none of you take your work home, and none of you bring home to work. I'm sure it never happens, but who am I kidding? But while we're on duty, we ought to be impartial in what we do. We should be treating people equally throughout the day, throughout our daily interactions with individuals. We need to keep our prejudices out. I mean, that's incredibly important. If you have a particular feeling about an individual or a set of individuals, you really need to keep that to yourself and treat everybody equally. And that's how the law is supposed to be. So that's how we should be treating everybody, equal under the eyes of the law, and treating everybody fairly. And that level of emotional control, especially on duty. And that is tough. We see some things in our careers and in our jobs that really challenge the emotions, whether it be happiness, sadness, anger, depression. I mean, there's a lot that gets thrown at us that the average individual doesn't get to see that often. So we have to be able to control that, but at the same time, be able to let it out when it's safe to let it out. And being truthful. While you're on duty, it's important to be truthful. This goes a long way with both the respect and, of course, that level of professionalism is by simply telling the truth. You may not like it, but sometimes that's the best thing to tell people. Look, we can't pick up that particular dog, or we can't go busting through people's doors because the law doesn't allow that. We can't just take an animal. Sometimes you have to be direct and you have to be truthful about it. Fairness. F, fairness. And treatment is equal. We need to treat people with a level of fairness that is equal across the board. Okay, everybody's equal under the law, and we need to treat them that way. Appropriate discretion. We have a lot of discretion, I think, in our world, and some departments may differ in their policies and procedures, but as a whole, we have a lot of discretion. And in our world, I think education is probably the most important level of discretion, because we want people to treat their pets appropriately. We want people to take care of their pets. That's the underlying thing, and that's what we strive toward getting people to do, is having them take care of their pets properly, and in accordance with the local and state laws. Okay, and we can be firm but fair about it. We can give people chances, and we often do. We can talk to them about appropriate pet food or licensing requirements, or the need and requirement maybe to get a rabies vaccination. Maybe we give them 2 weeks to get that vaccination up to date, or that license taken care of. But letting them know that, okay, you can get this done, but if you don't get this done, I have to do the enforcement action in 2 weeks, 1 week, whatever's deemed appropriate. So I like to call it educational enforcement. And in our world, we do quite a bit of educational moments, lots of teaching moments in our world, because not everybody understands how best to take care of their pet. There's a lot that goes into it, and we're there to help guide them along. And in most cases, that educational moment is the proper tool. But as we know, we get that moment where, we have to skip the educational part and go straight to the enforcement part, where someone has done something pretty terrible to an animal, and we might have to step in and remove that animal. That person might be charged with a criminal offense, and we go straight to enforcement. But overall, I think we do quite a bit of education. E, it's the next letter, effective. We definitely have to be effective. If we're not effective, then we're really not doing our job too well, because we have things that we're supposed to do. We have policies and procedures. We have expectations. We have reviews and things that our bosses and our departments want us to do, and that we need to do. And we need to be effective about it to get through each day and making sure our departments are are successful, as well as ourselves. Being prepared, getting yourself ready each day for work, having your uniform ready, having your pens and your paper, your forms that you need for the day, your vehicles ready to go, whatever you need in the animal shelter. There's a lot of things that go into just simply being prepared to do your job. Report writing, a lot of us do that, whether we actually handwrite them or we type them. They need to be effective. They need to be legible. They need to share a message, a story, have all the facts and the details, so that they can be used as appropriate, especially when you go to court or when you're seeking charges, or you need to convince somebody, that we need more personnel, and here's why: because we have been effective in our data gathering. Courtroom demeanor, you have to be prepared. For those of you that go to court and testify, having that level of effectiveness in the courtroom, speaking loud enough so that the judge can hear you, having all your notes ready, having all your documents, everything that you need, and your level of efficiency. You need to be able to do these things, and you need to be able to do them consistently. So each day that you do them, each day that you prepare yourself, just makes you that much more efficient, where you become that expert in effectiveness. The first S, sensible. Something simple here. We need to be reasonable. Not everybody can do everything that we do. So for example, my dog lives inside. Piper, she is an inside house dog. She would not even know how to live outside. She hates getting wet. And I'm sure you all have pets or know folks that have pets that just simply do not like to go outside when it's cold or rainy. So my dog just doesn't like that. She's never known the outside world, so to speak, and living in it. But in the city of Richmond, where I work, I have to understand that there are folks that their pets live outdoors, and that's okay. I may not like it, but I have to be reasonable in my approach, that the law allows for certain things. I have to be rational about it. I have to think through and be logical, as well as using common sense, and understand that, okay, here's what the law allows for me to do. I don't have to like it. Not everyone likes the law or the lack thereof, but I have to be reasonable about it. And I have to use logic and common sense that, okay, they're taking care of their pet under the eyes of the law, under what the law requires. And that's reasonable. Am I allowed to give them advice? Absolutely. Should I recommend a better dog food or a better dog house? You bet I'm going to do that. But as long as they're doing what the law requires, then I've achieved what I need to achieve, and I can be reasonable about it, and not have expectations that this person cannot meet. Okay, so I have to think about that stuff. The second S, self-importance. This is pretty important. It's right smack in the middle. Maybe it should be at the front, but it's right in the middle of this particular word. And it's at the core, I think, of professionalism, self-importance, who you are, who you are as a person, your appearance. These aren't in any particular order, but, thinking about your appearance. If you go into work looking unkempt, like dressed like a slob, your boots are dirty, or you don't have your shirt tucked in, that says a lot, and people will see that, and they may not take you seriously enough if your own appearance isn't professional looking. Thinking about having your pen, having your badge on correctly, having as simple as your name tag on straight. I know that sounds silly, but I have seen folks with their name tag on crooked, or it's falling off. It says a lot. Take time to care about your appearance, and have that compassion for yourself, compassion for your appearance, but compassion for your own self. For those of you that have ever been in my compassion fatigue class, emotional intelligence, starting with yourself is the most important thing. You're the most important person in the room. and honestly, the most important person in the world, because you need to take care of yourself first. If you can't take care of yourself, then you can't be expected to take care of anybody else or any other animals if you cannot take care of yourself. So having that understanding that stress management is vitally important to your self-importance, your physical and your mental health. Taking care of your mind is extraordinarily important. I mean, just simple things such as breathing, eating right, exercise, getting a good night's sleep, which I know is hard for those of us in this world, and just simply taking care of you. And once you can get that and master the basics of self-care, then taking care of the rest of the world comes a little bit easier. The first I, innovative. We don't get a lot of resources in our profession, and that's unfortunate because we do so much good work. So we've become experts, I believe, in thinking outside of the litter box, so to speak. We have to come up with ideas and ways of doing things because we don't always have the money or the resources to buy our tools and things that we need to do our job better. So we're really good about thinking how to work smarter and not harder. We already work hard. We have a physically demanding job, this world of animal care and control, whether you're in a shelter environment or you're actually out in the field. We already work hard. We know that. So why not work smarter? Do things that make it a little bit easier to do our job. Maybe we catch that dog a little bit more efficiently. Maybe we involve the community a little bit more. Maybe we check in with another department, such as zoning or the health department, and they can help us to achieve the goal that we need to achieve out there in the field or even in the shelter. Just look in your toolbox of things that you have. You don't have to use just one thing. If all you use is a catch pole on every single animal, then you'll never know that there's other tools in the toolbox, such as nets or dart guns or various other tools that we can use. Cooperation is not a dirty word. It really isn't. I know it's tough to get along with some people and get along with some other departments, but honestly, we need to. If it makes our job a little bit easier, then by God, I'm going to cooperate with the health department, or I'm going to cooperate with the local humane society or the local SPCA, or maybe the zoning department. I'm going to scratch their back, they'll scratch my back, and I'm going to do things for them. They're going to do things for me. And maybe you also reach out to the local businesses. Don't exclude them. There are businesses out there that would be happy to work with animal care and control professionals, not only for the recognition, but some of them genuinely are good people and do good things. The second O, off duty. Yep. For those of you that work in small communities, you're known by everybody. I'm known by a lot of people only because I've been in this business for so long. But off duty, we still need to be professional. We need to be a good citizen in our community. We need to be active in our community. Honestly, we should do things that maintain that level of self-control. So you are not, bringing bad light to both yourself or your department when you're off duty. What you do can reflect back on your department. So it's very important to maintain a good off-duty level of professionalism as well as on duty. Maybe volunteer. And does it have to be with something that's animal related? Not necessarily. You can volunteer at the library. You can volunteer in the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, anything that you think might expand your mind and your level of off-duty professionalism and who you are. Nurturing, the only N in this word, and I think for us, we're in this business because we do care for both people and animals. I think it would be incredibly difficult to do this job if we did not care for both people and animals. And I know we joke, I do it often, where, I like animals better than I like people. Well, that could be the case in some situations and in some moments. But we genuinely have to care about animals and people to be able to have that level of nurturing that gives us that whole sense of professionalism. We have to bring it to a whole different level, okay, and have that ability to be empathetic, that empathy that we need to do our jobs in the best possible way. And empathy being, that ability to just simply understand the moment or understand the feelings of someone else or even an animal. We can understand that person is having a tough day because they just lost their pet, or that animal is in such a terrible situation because it's chained up outside and it's lived on a chain and it's skin and bones and doesn't have a doghouse. We can understand that moment that's a bad situation, and we're going to be there to help. We're going to be there to protect both that animal and the people in the neighborhood or people in the community as well. And the only A in the word as well, accomplish, to be a professional in this job, in this world of animal care and control. Don't just limit yourself to just simply being an animal care and control officer or someone that is involved in the shelter world. Think about career development. How can you best educate yourself? Doesn't mean you have to go to college, doesn't mean you have to get a degree. How can you improve yourself? How can you educate yourself? Maybe you take courses, maybe you go to the library, maybe you go online, maybe you attend a virtual conference. Seek out that training. What's available? There are so many things that are available. I look back over the 30 years, and there wasn't a tremendous amount available 30 years ago, but now, wow, the sky is the limit. And it doesn't always have to be animal related. I think a lot of us get a little bit too bogged down and think that, what can I do that's animal related? It doesn't have to be animal related. If you want to take a history course, take a history course. If you want to do something that involves the study of flowers, do that. Do something that's going to expand your mind. Human resources is what I did, but I know plenty of folks that go into history, or even accounting, or anything that gets you to expand your mind, becoming that expert in whatever it is, each and every day. And I think we're all experts in some form or fashion, but maybe we add to that. Maybe we seek out that training that gives us that little bit of oomph and that little bit of extra pizzazz and doing something that's a little bit more than the status quo. And L, listen. How important is this? We talk to people every single day. And I add listen in there to the animals as well, because we deal with animals every single day. And you have to listen to them too, just in a different manner. Eye contact. I mean, it's so important to actually look at people and to look at animals and make that eye contact so that they know you're taking them seriously. The gestures that we use, the hand signals, the nonverbal communication, and that achieving that level of understanding that you've made a difference and that person understands you and they understand what they need to do to improve their animal's well-being and what they need to do to be a successful pet parent, so to speak. So being able to communicate in a way, but also to listen, because many people just simply want to get what's off of their chest out there, and sometimes we just have to listen to them. And I know it's hard because we have a lot to do. We have calls for service pending, we have cages we have to clean, there's phone calls to make, and all these things that we need to do. But sometimes it's important to just sit and listen to somebody, listen on the telephone, or listen to them in person, so that they can tell you their story. And you can then have a better level of understanding with them. And then they will also be able to understand that, okay, you sat there and you listened to them. You took them seriously. Incredibly important. Integrity. This is pretty important as well. I mean, they're all important, but integrity is important as well, and who you are, and just that simple ability to be honest and do the right thing. I mean, literally do the right thing. Your moral compass. You know, if it looks wrong, feels wrong, probably gonna be wrong. You know, having a strong sense of ethics in your world and in your both your personal life as well as your professional life. And there's a lot of honor in this profession. We do a good thing. We really do a good thing each and every day. And we should be proud of ourselves, and we should have that strong level of integrity that we want to do right each and every day. We want to help people. We want to do the right thing every single day. You know, we want to steer people in the right direction. We don't want to, to be mean. We want to, to be firm and fair, and show that this is an honorable profession that we do every single day. And not talked about too often are the soft skills, things that can be used for just about everything, not just animal care and control, but for everything. Just courtesy. It's very easy to just simply be courteous. You know, we've just come back from a terrible pandemic, and people are a little bit grumpy, and we're just getting back into the world of meetings and doing things collectively as groups and teams, and getting back out into the community, and just simply being courteous to one another goes a long way. And we can do that very easily. It doesn't take a whole lot to just simply be courteous to the people that we interact with, both our colleagues and our supervisors, and those that we work with, members of the community. It's a pretty easy skill that can be done each day. And having that level of leadership in what you do personally, or if you're in a supervisory role, having a positive attitude. That's tough. I know, I get it, because we see so much negative. But focus or find that positive moment so that you can uplift both you and maybe members of your team or your coworkers, and just simply having that attitude that is upbeat, uplifting. Okay. Time management, that's a tough one for a lot of us because we're doing so much. We don't take time to eat our lunch, or we eat it on the go, or we don't take time to just go to the bathroom. That's important too. Having that couple of minutes just for yourself, managing your time so that all right, this 2 minutes, that's mine. I'm going to take that, or 2 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever you need to do, for yourself, or to do other things, to be able to get your reports done, to be up on time in the morning, to get to work, to get to an appointment, to make it out there to the person that you need to, have a conversation with about their pet. So time management is another soft skill. And there's many soft skills, but these are some of the important ones. And last but not least, the letter M, mature. And I know that's tough for some of us, but we have to have a level of maturity, and nothing wrong with joking and having fun and kicking back. Sometimes we have a little bit of dark humor, and I get it. I'm the first to admit that when I'm decapitating something for a rabies specimen, I might talk about lunch, and it's not uncommon for me to do that. But having that emotional intelligence as well, to know that, okay, some of my dark humor has to stay with me or people that are going to understand, what I'm talking about. And also having the emotional intelligence to realize, all right, what, I'm having a little bit of a down day. What do I need to do to get a pick me up? Or this was a tough situation. Where do I need to take that emotion? I need to tuck it away for a moment, or put it in a cabinet in my mind. And then, okay, later on when I'm off duty and I can safely get that emotion out, what am I going to do with it? Am I going to go back out on my back porch and just, watch the birds? Am I going to go outside? And I've got a tortoise, and I'll go out and talk to my tortoise from time to time. And he doesn't care. He's a good listener, doesn't talk back much. having a structured life is sometimes, that's kind of important. We work in a world of chaos sometimes, so having that structure helps us to navigate that chaos a little bit more. Being able to maintain our composure, it's tough because we deal with so much, but having that mature ability to maintain our composure out in the community or in our department, to show that, all right, I'm the professional here. You can try to get me angry, or you can try to get me sad, but I'm the professional here, and I'm going to maintain my composure, and I'm going to do the best job that I possibly can. And developing our skills. We talked about it in the educational part and career development. Develop the skills that you need to help you as a person, both in all of these things, emotional intelligence and being able to maintain that level of maturity, but also understanding that, sometimes you can kick back, you can have fun, but you can be mature about your level of professionalism, what you do day in and day out. So that's the word professionalism. And I threw on here, it's a lot of words on one particular slide, and you can take your time reading it, whenever. But it's the National Animal Care and Control Association Code of Conduct. And some other states, like, for example, I'm also on the board of directors for the Virginia Animal Control Association, and we have something similar. That's very similar to this, to the NACA Code of Conduct. But it's just some guidelines, just some things that what it means to be an animal care and control professional, things that we can do that that are important as we go about doing our job. And always keep calm and eat a donut. That's my go-to saying. And I think that's all I have. This is who I am. If anybody ever wants to reach out, here's my direct contact information. I do, like I said, work for the City of Richmond Animal Care and Control, and I'm always happy to talk to folks. So with that, I think I'm done with the presentation.
Thanks, Rob. Does anyone have any questions?
I guess there's no questions.
A lot of thank yous. Angela said thank you. Rebecca said great presentation. Looking forward to sharing